tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. Thank you for sending Jesus. He was born for all the world. You gave us so much love, and I'm telling all the world. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. The night Jesus came started like a silent night. The shepherds looked up and saw the brightest light. And then what happened was a bigger surprise. They looked up and saw the angels in the sky. I can't keep it inside, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. Jesus, you are alive, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. Go, 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 tell it. 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 Let's give it a try. Go tell it. Let's give it a try. Go tell it. I'm telling everyone, everywhere he's alive. Just like the angels singing in the sky. I can't keep it inside, I gotta tell it. Go tell it. Jesus, you are alive, I gotta tell it. Go tell it. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. Go, 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 tell it. 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 Thank you for sending Jesus. He was born for all the world. You gave us so much love, and I'm telling all the world.
Welcome to Story Lab. This week, we're taking a look at the story of some guys who were a little late to a Christmas party. Oh. Actually, you can never be late for Christmas. Hey, I'm Skylar.
And I'm Sebastian,
We're talking about why Jesus is so important in God's story.
and in our stories.
Also, we're doing some stargazing.
I'm not going to be gazing at this star very long because it's going in my stomach.
Well, the Star of Bethlehem,
The star of the wise men followed.
it was not chocolate, but no one knows exactly what it was.
We know God put it there. We just don't know how.
Scientists have lots of ideas. For instance, it could have been a supernova.
A supernova occurs when the core of a huge star collapses and the star explodes.
This image was captured by NASA's new Webb telescope. It shows a star right on the edge of going supernova. According to NASA, a star in this phase is one of the most luminous and massive stars known.
Makes sense the wise men could have seen a supernova.
But the Star of Bethlehem could have also been several bright planets right together.
Or something else God could have imagined.
Well, a supernova is a little beyond our grasp.
Like by a few million light years.
But there's another star I think we can handle.
Well then, let's make it.
Today, we're making our own star lanterns.
It's a bright idea.
Get your parents to help you find a star lantern template online. They can print the template on craft paper, or you can just cut on the template and trace it. Once you've done that, step 1 is to cut out 5 copies.
Of the night, I've been waiting on this Sunday glow since last New Year's Eve. 'Cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night.
You wanna know what they call me? They call me the Picasso of scissoring.
'Cause Santa always comes at night.
Done. Now what?
Step 2, turn each of these pieces into a cone. Make sharp folds along each of these dotted lines.
When Santa comes, seeing visions of Tiffany boxes.
And then tape this tab on the inside.
Kissing on a gas
Step 3, now add hole punches so the light shines out of your star.
on a royal mile with your hand in mine. Feeling like it's gonna happen.
And now I got star confetti. Step 4, start taping your cones together. The top 2 tabs of this cone go inside the next cone, just like that.
Light, roasting chestnuts on the open fire.
Last step, if you just want your star to be a decoration, you can tape it closed now, but this is where we turn it into a lantern.
With this,
Yep, fairy lights.
Sunday closed since last New Year's Eve. 'Cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night.
Before we close the lantern, we put the fairy lights inside, leaving the battery out. Next, hole punch a hole on each side, close to the open joint.
Santa always comes at night, yeah.
And thread a string through those 2 holes and tie it tight enough to hold the mouth of the star shut.
check it out, Star of Wonder.
Star of Night.
I've been waiting on this all
Star of Royal Beauty Bright.
Speaking of which, it's time for...
The story before the story.
Today we're in the book of Matthew. Matthew was a close friend and follower of Jesus who recorded what he saw and heard.
Before he met Jesus, Matthew was a hated tax collector who took more money than people owed.
After meeting Jesus, Matthew changed.
Matthew wanted to share with everyone how Jesus is the Messiah.
Over and over, Matthew made connections to show how Jesus fulfills God's promise to send a rescuer,
Beginning with the birth of Jesus and some unusual visitors.
which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Padma. Christmas Day may be past, but that doesn't mean we have to stop celebrating. In fact, today's story is about some guys who spent months and more in their quest to celebrate Jesus' birth. Far to the east of Bethlehem, there lived a group of wise men. These wise scholars studied ancient writings and the patterns of the stars. One night, they discovered a new and brilliant star.
Look, right there, just above the horizon.
It's not on any of the charts.
Far out.
Many years before, the Jewish people had lived in exile in this region, and Daniel had actually been one of the king's wise men. So these wise men likely knew of Daniel and this ancient Jewish prophecy.
A star will come from among the people of Jacob. A king will rise up out of Israel.
Surely this is the star.
Then we got a brand new baby king.
We should bring him gifts.
Epic road trip.
At this time, the common means of travel was your feet, or for the wise men, it may have been camels. They packed up supplies and beautiful gifts fit for a king, and then they set off across the wild and barren desert, following the star.
Star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
Are we there yet?
The journey covered hundreds of miles and likely took months of travel. But at last, the wise men reached Judea. They headed straight for the place you'd expect to find a king, the capital city of Jerusalem.
Where is the child who has been born to be King of the Jews?
We saw his star when it rose.
Then we made like gazelles to come and worship him.
You can imagine, the wise men caused quite a stir in town. Word quickly made its way to the palace where King Herod lived. And let's just say, he was not happy to hear news of another king.
No fair. I'm the king. No one else can be king.
Of course not, your most royal kingness.
Bring in the chief priests. Call the teachers of the law.
When King Herod got upset, he made sure everyone else was upset too. Like the whole city.
I'm the only king, got it? But where's this so-called other king / Messiah supposed to be born?
In Bethlehem, in Judea.
Bethlehem?
This is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, are certainly not the least important among the towns of Judah. A ruler will come out of you. He will rule my people Israel like a shepherd.
King Herod was outraged to discover there really was something to this new king thing. He sent for the wise men, and then he got sneaky.
Well, you've had quite the trip. Just between us wise guy king types. When did this star show up?
Right before we began our journey.
I see. And your journey was how long?
Really, really long.
Here's how I see it. You go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report it to me. Then I can go and, worship him too.
Do you really think that Herod wanted to worship this new king? Yeah, me neither. Herod was up to no good. But the wise men didn't know that yet. They got right back on their camels to follow the star, and turns out they really were almost there because Bethlehem is less than 6 miles from Jerusalem.
Look, the star has stopped.
Filled with joy, the wise men arrived at the small home where Jesus and his family were staying. By this time, Jesus wasn't a tiny newborn anymore. He might have been crawling or even taking his first steps. The wise men knew a true king when they saw one. Immediately, they bowed down to worship Jesus. Then they offered him their gifts.
We've brought him gold.
And frankincense.
And myrrh. I know, don't even try to spell that.
Okay, next time you meet a new baby, maybe don't bring gold coins and spices, but these gifts for Jesus were extra special because they were exactly the sort of thing you give a king. And speaking of kings, remember Herod's sneaky plan to find Jesus? Thankfully, God warned the wise men in a dream not to return to Herod. So they went back to their home by a different road. Herod probably threw another fit about that.
They tricked me. No fair, no fair, no fair, no fair, no fair.
We don't know what happened to the wise men when they returned home, but I'll bet they spent the rest of their lives remembering their incredible journey and the baby king who was worth it all. The end.
Can you imagine? You happen to see this new star in the sky and then you just leave your whole life behind to follow it?
For months or even years.
Jesus truly is that special.
So, what's our part in the story?
Well, Christmas is celebrating Jesus, God's greatest gift. For the wise men, celebrating Jesus meant an epic road trip. But we can celebrate Jesus in our regular everyday lives all year long.
I've always been a big fan of Christmas in July.
Always a classic.
The best way to celebrate Jesus is to live like he lived. We can do that by showing love to God and love to others in all that we do.
So, make a springtime picnic for your family.
Help teach your little brother to swim in the summer.
Rake leaves for your neighbor in the fall.
Gather together with people who love Jesus.
And take a minute to brighten someone's day with an encouraging word any time of the year.
I think it's time to level up my celebration game.
Challenge accepted.
Well then, see you next time to keep on celebrating.
Bye.
So here's the thing. Never stop celebrating Jesus.
Whether it's January
Or the middle of summer.
or fall break,
I feel like celebrating right now.
with the spot of stargazing.
You know it.
I've been waiting.
Thanks for joining us in the Story Lab.
See you next time. Next year.
Always comes at night. Santa always comes at night. Yeah.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. While fields and floods, rocks, hills and plain repeat the sound and joy. Repeat the sound and joy. Repeat the sound and glory to the King. He is everything. Our hearts will rejoice and sing. Glory to the King. Let the praises ring. Our hearts will rejoice and sing. Joy to the world. Keep them bells ringing. Keep them bells ringing.